Hello, welcome to another edition of Hope and Help for Families. My name is Reverend Matthew J. Watts, your host, and we're excited you invite us into your home today. And we have two very special guests with me in the studio today. One is Mrs. Crystal Good Satterfield, and a little bit later, Ms. Benitra Clark will be joining us. But first of all, Crystal, welcome to the studio today.
Thank you.
And we're excited about having you here to talk about a couple of things. One, your work with Hope Community Development Corporation as the Creative Arts Director, and also a new initiative, the Hope Motherhood Initiative. Before we get started on those items, let's talk a little bit about yourself, some of the things you've done in the past, and your interest in the arts and working with youth.
Okay. Well, I'm from St. Albans, graduate of St. Albans High School, currently attending West Virginia State College. I spent several years after graduating from high school as a professional model. I worked in Atlanta and New York and Chicago and every major city on the East Coast. Some folks recognize me from the symphony show, which I did every year with Mrs. Palumbo since about 1990, I believe. So that's been a great experience in my life and allowed me to meet a lot of people here locally that are involved in creativity in the arts and putting different programs together. So that's definitely where I have an interest.
Well, no, I first met you, and it was kind of interesting. I've shared this story with several people. I was invited to a meeting that was being convened by the Charleston Public Safety Council, and Ms. Carol Charlotte had just issued her report to deal with the overrepresentation of minorities in the juvenile justice system. And I was quite impressed when you came to the meeting. You had your two sons with you, and you had an interest in what was going on with young people and hearing more about this overrepresentation of minority youth in the juvenile justice system. And I was really impressed with your energy as well as with your persistence and your desire to get involved. And so that's how you sort of started working for us at Hope Community Development. And you'd expressed a real interest in the arts. And talk to our viewers a little bit about some of the things that you've been doing as the Creative Arts Director with Hope and some of the projects that you have going with the Clay Center for the Arts and Sciences.
Well, I believe in self-expression. I believe that if you can get kids to paint, to draw, to share themselves in some form, that can allow them to think within themselves about some of their problems. I know that I'm an avid journal writer, and I know that helps me in my life. And the juvenile justice crisis here in the Charleston area really sparked my attention. Being the mother of two young sons, I realized that my sons were probably maybe more of a target in this area, being African American. And so I thought to myself, what could I do in this crisis? And I really believe that that youth need to know that they are talented and that there are many sources that they could plug into. We did with Hope a mural, which is one of my favorite pieces, and very, very proud of it. We did that along with partnership with Sunrise and the Clay Center. And
talk a little bit more about that, exactly what the mural project was and what it all involved.
The mural project, we worked with Hope Youth. Most of the students were in junior high and a few high schoolers from the Kanawha Valley. We painted the mural there at the King Center. It's a 3-panel mural, probably about 6 feet by 3 feet, each panel. And we selected the topic West Virginia history through African American history. It sort of depicted Leon Sullivan, the Maddie V. Lee home. We painted a black mountaineer, and really in the process of painting the mural, talked to the kids and worked with the kids about African American history, and we all learned something about black coal miners. I believe the artist that worked with us, Kevin Jones, had opportunity to learn more about West Virginia history and went on to do an even bigger mural about some of the African American history here in West Virginia. So it was a great experience, and the kids really realized, some of them didn't realize that they could draw, but they can with just a little bit of guidance and encouragement.
This mural was actually on display at Sunrise for some period of time. A lot of people got the opportunity to view it there, correct?
Yes, it was on display at Sunrise, and I think thousands of people had the opportunity to see it. To my knowledge, this was one of the first murals that ever depicted African American history, West Virginia, African American history, yeah.
Well, that's tremendous. Well, when we finally get settled in our final location, one of our final locations, we think it's going to be a display permanently at the Tiscawah Center Incorporated, so we're looking forward to that. You've also been working with Ms. Lakin Cook with the Clay Center for the Arts and Sciences on some other projects. Give us an overview of some of the other things that you've done with the Clay Center and some of the other involvements you've had with youth.
Well, with the Clay Center, we were fortunate enough to have John Blake come and give a presentation to our youth, a musician and his sister, a storyteller. That was a wonderful experience. He came, he played the violin and different instruments right in the Grace Bible Fellowship Hall, and that was a wonderful experience for all ages to get to see people of color play different instruments that they normally don't see. One of the other partnerships that we've developed is with Charleston Stage Company. Right now we have youth there at their arts camp that started today, and we'll be visiting there throughout the summer, and we're really excited about that. We believe that the Clay Center is going to be a wonderful place, but we also see the vision as far as training up young artists.
That's tremendous. Now I know you're also doing something with Flipside. Young lady, one of the youth that you're sort of mentoring, she called me and we had an interview, and she interviewed me a couple of weeks ago, last week I guess, for something you're doing with Flipside. What's exactly going on with Flipside, and what are the kids doing, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, the Flipside is the youth portion of the Charleston Gazette. It's edited by Marina Hendricks, but it is all developed by teenagers, and we have been asked to do our own Hope Flipside and sort of talk about what hope is and some of the projects that we're doing. We have Miss Amber Markham that is working on the article about what hope is, and that's the young lady that interviewed you. We also have 3 youth that are currently working on a piece about juvenile justice. We're also going to try to incorporate some of the creative folks with poetry and also a cartoon, which I think you all will be surprised. It's a political cartoon drawn by Earl Miller, and Earl also worked on the mural and was one of the shining students on the mural. So we expect to get that out here in the next month.
That's tremendous. Well, we certainly appreciate all that you're doing. You've really brought a special touch to the Hope Community Development, because I tell people often, I'm an engineer by formal training, but I can't draw a straight line without a ruler. And so, but I love the arts, and I love to see artistic expression, whether it's in song, dance, poetry, or paintings or whatever. And it's been really exciting to see some of the young people blossoming and identifying talents that they didn't know they had, at least of that quality and that level. And we believe that it's really important that each young person get the opportunity to really grow and to polish their skills and talents, and in so doing they develop self-confidence and so forth. So we thank you for all that you're doing. There's another project, a pretty significant project that you've taken a lead role on at the Hope Community Development Corporation, and it's called the Hope Motherhood Initiative. Tell our viewers a little bit about that, how it all got started, and then we'll talk about some of the particulars of some of the things you're currently doing.
Okay, well, the Hope Motherhood Initiative was officially born last month. We have 22 young mothers in the Hope program. The program started basically just out of a need. We youth development specialists recognized that we had a lot of young mothers in our program. Probably, I'm not sure the exact number, but it's around about 18% of the ladies in our program are mothers. And so that was a red flag, especially with the things that we're trying to do in regards to child care, in regards to what education needs and various things. So we developed the Hope Motherhood Initiative, and in that, it's a special program. We're going to link each young mother with a mentor mom, and that mentor mom will be there for weekly counseling or just to say hello. And the mentor moms are also mothers. I know sometimes, being a young mother myself, I had my son when I was 20 years old, sometimes your mom isn't always the one that you want to ask questions to. So we hope that these young ladies will look to their mentor moms, but also start to develop a network within themselves to answer mothering questions or to use each other as a resource.
If someone is listening or watching the broadcast today and they heard the term mentor mom, and if they have an interest in being a mentor mom for a young woman, what should they do?
They can call me at HOPE 342-3249. We are looking for some mentor moms. Our program keeps growing every day, and every day I find out about a new mother or a new father, someone that is already has a young child, or someone that is that is pregnant. So we're growing, and we need mentor moms. It does take a commitment, and there's a training session that the mentor moms will go through.
So earlier you said that we've already identified about 22 young women. Some of them people call young girls, but they're normally between the age of 14 and 20.
14 and about 20, yes.
And 14 and 20, and so we have about 22 young moms, and so we need at least 22 mentor moms.
Yes. Yes.
As soon as we can recruit them.
Yes.
And I know you and I talked quite a bit about it, and I've been really impressed with your passion and really diligence in developing this whole initiative. And so you had an event last month at the Family Enrichment Center there on Patrick Street. Tell our viewers a little about that event, what happened, and what do you think the youth got out of that experience?
Well, we're really grateful to the Schonenbaum Family Resource Center. They've actually opened up their doors and said that we can use their facilities anytime. And there at the Resource Center are many things that I think young mothers need to know about, daycare centers, health centers, OIC, future job training. So we talked a little bit about that, but our key for our first meeting was just to get to know each other and to work on our scrapbooks, which is a project they're going to be working on throughout the year. Each young mother will be given a scrapbook, and that will tell a little bit about ourselves. We'll do a photography workshop, a Mommy and Me photography workshop, where you can do pictures of your child. We'll also incorporate you know, creativity, journaling. We wrote a letter to our children, whether they were unborn or 2 years old, and that was a really beautiful experience. We had a speaker, Jamaica Reese Carradine, who is over the Michaela House. Mrs. Carradine gave birth to her daughter actually at 22 weeks, and she shared her testimony about what it's like to have a sick child, and also just some of the things that she's been through as a young mother, and that was a wonderful experience too.
It's tremendous. I know I stopped by for a few moments and was really quite moved as she was giving her testimony about how she felt and the thing that was going on around her at the time that she gave birth, and the little hope that some of the physicians gave to her child's survival. It was really a miracle of God's grace. How she was blessed and the child survived and doing fine, and she's doing fine, and she and her husband living happily ever after. Those are the type of stories you like to hear people tell. Let's talk a little bit more about the Hope Motherhood Initiative, which is, we have a companion for that on the fatherhood side, that Brother Greg Schaefer's and Corey Robinson and myself are working on with the Hope Fatherhood Initiative, but a little more specific about some of the things that you hope to do with the moms and with the mentor moms as a part of the curriculum.
Well, the first thing that I would like to tackle with the Hope Motherhood Initiative is there is just some basic red flags here in our state. One is we have one of the highest rates of teenage mothers that smoke during pregnancy and afterwards, and that's something that we would like to start off as our first issue. When the girls come into the program, we ask them that they're either in school or that they are working. And we also ask them that while they're in the program that they delay any subsequent pregnancies. And
hopefully
along with
until
that,
marriage?
Yes, hopefully until marriage. And we're also going to ask that while they're in the program that they stop smoking, or we can try to work on getting some help for that, or at least recognize the dangers that is for a small child, or especially when you're pregnant. So that's really one of the key issues that we're looking at with the Motherhood Initiative. But basically, it's also to educate young mothers about some things that they might not know about, especially when you are pregnant, some of the rights that you have, even as a young mother. There seems to be a current trend for cesarean sections with teenage mothers, which is a red flag for health care providers throughout the state. So that's something that we want to educate our young mothers on, as far as through birthing classes, and expose them to some words they might not know, like doula, which is a birthing assistant, or Montessori, which is another way to train your children at home. So those are some of the ideas that we have.
It's tremendous. If you just tuned in, you are watching the Hope and Helpful Families program, a program of the Hope Community Development Corporation. I'm here this afternoon with Ms. Crystal Good, and we're talking about the Hope Motherhood Initiative, project of the Hope Community Development Corporation, designed to help young mothers by pairing them with more mature mentor moms to help them navigate their way through the tempestuous waters of motherhood. Now, Crystal, what was one of the challenges that you faced as a young mother that really was a challenge you had to work your way through, and that you hope to help other young mothers to be able to work through maybe more easily than what you had to do?
Stop reading the book and just ask was probably lesson number one, and then by the time the second one came, well, you throw the book out. But yeah, I think that was it, being able to build up some self-confidence about you know, your own intuition as a mother, and asking folks when you need help, which was the greatest step. And I'm just so impressed with these young ladies, and so proud of them at their decision to be mothers. And I just want to help them all that I can, and share the resources that I have, and be there to applaud them, because this is a tough job that they're doing, and being a teenager, and being in school, and with their goals and their dreams. I'm so impressed with them, and very proud of them, and glad that they've allowed me to be a part of their lives.
And you have an upcoming event.
Yes.
In July.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our viewers, what is this event, and are they invited to attend, and where will it be, and what do you hope to get done? Certainly.
It'll be at the Family Resource Center again, July 11th from 3 to 6. There we'll be working on our scrapbooks. We're going to explore a little bit more about what a doula is. I mentioned that before. And also we're going to have a lady from the Red Cross come and speak to us, and hopefully set up a session later on to where we can do some infant CPR certification for these young mothers, which is a wonderful thing to know as you're raising children. So we invite anyone to come down, especially we're looking for speakers or folks that have a talent that they want to share.
What's that place and time and date again?
At the Schonenbaum Family Resource Center, July 11th from 3 to 6.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and being with me today.
Thank you.
Well, if you have interest in the Hope Motherhood Initiative, if you'd like to volunteer as a mentor mom, or maybe you can serve as a speaker, and you feel free to contact Ms. Crystal Good Satterfield at 342-3249, 342-3249. We're going to take just a short break, and we're going to return with one of the young ladies that's participating in the Hope Youth Development Movement Summer Program, Ms. Anitra Clark, and you don't want to miss her presentation.
You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids keep on learning. These programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to make it happen. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
Hello, if you've just tuned in, you're viewing Hope and Helpful Families. I'm Reverend Matthew J. Watts, your host, and I have here with me in the studio today Ms. Anitra Clark, and she's one of the young ladies that's in the Hope Youth Development Movement, and she's been on our program for over a year. And Anitra, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
And having you here today is a real delight. You've grown up to be a beautiful young woman, but you make me feel a little bit old, because I remember when you were born, and now you're all grown up. But we're just glad that you could be here, and we're really glad you're also in the Hope Youth Development Movement. Let's talk a little bit about your involvement. You've been involved in the Hope Youth Development Movement for over a year. What are some of the things that you've done that you've really enjoyed, you thought have helped you to grow as a young person?
Well, all the staff that's in Hope, they really encourage you to do your best, and they stay on you. They really do that, and they push you to your limit because they know what you are capable of doing, and they push you so that you can do better.
That's great. Now, you're a recent graduate of Capitol High School.
Yes.
And so during the school year, one of the staff persons would normally come up to meet with you, and you guys had workshops and participate in some other things. But you also got an opportunity to participate in some of the field trips, correct?
In some of them.
Okay.
Sometimes I had other obligations I had to do.
Okay. Now, were you able to go to any of the trips to the colleges?
No.
No. Okay. But you did participate in some of the workshops that took place at Capitol High School.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the summer piece of the Hope Youth Development Movement, the summer work component. And you were selected to have a summer assignment this year at CAMC. What do you think about that?
I'm honored because that job doesn't come around to a lot of people my age very often. So I'm very honored that I got picked.
Well, it was a real tough process. I think there were 30 youth that were identified from the 200 plus youth that we have, and so you were chosen as one of those 30 youth. But then you guys had to go through an interviewing process, is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what was the interview process like when you went to CAMC for the interview?
It was very professional, and they just simply asked you regular questions, you know, your abilities, what you're able to do, and I found it a great experience. It was teaching me some things for later on in life. That's
great. That's what we wanted. We wanted you, ladies and gentlemen, to go through a process like you would be interviewing, you know, for a full-time position at CAMC, and we're really grateful to CAMC because they've stepped forward in a major way to be a partner with the Hope Youth Development Movement. I know that you understand that, and I hope the other students do also, all the way down from the CEO, Mr. Ramsey, and the COO, Mr. Crotty, and Ms. Jana Hansen has been just unbelievable, and Mr. Les Melton, and the whole staff there has been great with us. But I understand you've actually been assigned to work with Ms. Jana Hansen, is that correct? Now, what department is that?
It's the employment service where they hire all the LPNs and the RNs and everybody that works with CAMC.
And so you're going to get a good opportunity this summer to learn more about the hiring process and how they go through the whole process of identifying people and so forth. Now, are there some other students that's working in that particular area?
Well, they kind of separate us all into different parts of CAMC. There's some people that, I think there's 2 of us that's at General, and there's some other people that were over in Canal City, and I think there's some at the daycare that they have. So everybody's in different places.
So youth are scattered throughout the CAMC complex, and so you get an opportunity to sort of be at the control center there with the resources to see what's going on. And you guys participated in a pretty sophisticated orientation session last week. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, all of our supervisors, you can call them, came in and we introduced ourselves to them, and they basically told us what we was going to do, and it's a professional setting. It's different. We have to talk and dress like a professional, like we'd be there full time, and they were really nice. They said that they knew we really didn't know much about CAMC, so they was going to work with us as much as possible, and so that was good.
And prior to the supervisors coming, you also spent some time, I guess, in another orientation session or something to do with safety or health around the hospital.
They taught us about the different machines that they had at the hospitals and what signs mean. Like they have certain signs that are on people's doors, like you can't go in certain rooms because of their illness, or every time you come in a room or out of a room, you must wash your hands. Everything is very cleansed. All throughout the hospitals, they have the hand sanitizer stuff where you don't have to use soap. You just squirt it in your hand and your hands are clean. And they told us about different stuff. They gave us new big words that I could not even pronounce. So, but it was great to learn those new things.
Sure, experience and exposure is at least half of your education. Now, prior to this summer and getting this assignment with CAMC, had you given much thought about a job or a career in the health sciences field?
I had thought about going into nursing, but I'm sort of on the shaky side because I'm not real good with the blood and everything. But I think I might go into it. I'm still not sure yet. So.
Well, this will give you a good opportunity to see different type of jobs and the different employment opportunities within CAMC.
Yes.
So you might find that there is some other job in the medical field that you would like and feel more comfortable working in.
Yes.
What would you say to a young person? You graduated from high school. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What would you say to a young person that is, say, in elementary school or junior high school and that don't want to go to school, missing a lot of school, and really causing some problems at the school? What would you say to that young person?
First off, I would tell them that education is very important. And I know I had messed up my 11th grade year, and it sort of set me back because I didn't work to my potential that I knew that I could reach. And it sets you way back because there's some things that you miss out on, and you start feeling real down about it. But if you just continue to stay focused and do your work and try as hard as you can, you'll make it. And read as many books as possible. Read everything and take notes in class. So.
That's excellent advice that you've given them. I'm hoping that some young people will see this broadcast and they will heed your advice, because, you know, in our society today, you know, the education opens many doors of opportunities. And without a solid educational background, then there's some doors that you just can't get through because they require, you know, an education, and more than high school. High school is the beginning, to get a foundation to move forward to other post-secondary education. And so I'm hoping that many young people will heed your good word of counsel to stay focused, to work hard, and always put forth a maximum effort. Anitra, what do you see just as a young person from your perspective? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the difficulties that young people in the Charleston and Kanawha Valley are facing today?
The number one thing I probably say is peer pressure, because some people, they really want to succeed, they really want to do and be something, but because of their friends, they're sort of like, I don't want to be smarter because, you know, they might not accept me. But it's always good to be unique, to be different, to stand out, because it will get you somewhere.
That's good. Now, what would you say to adults, people like myself, people like Ms. Crystal Satterfield and others at Hope Community Development Corporation? What can we do? What things should we be doing as adults to help to support youth to be successful?
Continue to push us to our potential, because we really will come out one day. It may seem like we're being very rebellious right now, but that's just teenagers. Just encourage us, continue to just help us out, be very understandable, be very reasonable with us, and continue to have a lot of patience, because I know sometimes we get on y'all's nerves. I know, my mom tells me every day. But just have a lot of patience with us and encourage us.
That's great. Well, I tell you what, I know that your mother is extremely proud of you because you've grown to be just a beautiful young lady, and you're very articulate, and you're very intelligent and very expressive, and I'm sure that the young people listening and the adults have learned a lot from you today. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you again for tuning in to Hope and Help for Families. This is Reverend Matthew J. Watts. Looking forward to seeing you next time.